and welcome to Try It Tuesday, where I show you tips, tricks, and how-tos when it comes to crochet and other fiber arts. Today, I'm going to go kind of back to basics. I've done a video about this before in the past, but I kind of want to go over it in a little bit more detail, hopefully, and to kind of help anybody out that might just be starting, especially with amigurumi, which is stuffed animals. So, what I'm going to teach you how to do is read a yarn label. And I have here some of the more popular yarns that are used. Not necessarily brand-wise, some of them, yes, but most are pretty well known. We'll start with the smaller of the yarns, and I'm going to put these ones off to the side as we go. And so when you go to pick out a yarn, especially when you're first starting out, you don't know where to start, a simple worsted weight is a good place to start. It doesn't have to be Red Heart. Red Heart is one of the cheaper brands, but they have a wide variety of colors. However, they are a little bit scratchy, and that's because there is a film basically that's over them that it slowly gets softer after you wash it. Sometimes it doesn't though, so keep that in mind. So when you go to read a yarn label, what you're going to do is you're going to look for this part. First of all, you're going to look for the weight of yarn, because that's really important. This is the most common weight, which is a medium worsted weight 4. What it recommends is using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Now keep in mind, that is for basically the project that's on here. Now that doesn't mean that you have to specifically use that for this project, but that's what's recommended for the pattern that is on here. That being said, when I use a worsted weight yarn, I personally like to use a 3 millimeter. Now, people range anywhere from 3 millimeter up to, I think, even a 4 when it comes to amigurumi. That's just my personal preference. My attention has loosened up quite a bit. The other important things on a yarn label, other than if you knit, there's your size there, it tells you what it is made out of, and it tells you how to take care of it. And then obviously it gives you all these fun symbols, which is like don't iron. I think this is no bleach. I could be wrong. Tumble dry, and then what you can wash it on. Another fun thing is some of them come with different ways to use the yarn. So this one's for a center pull. So first you pull this part out, which is for the outside, and then the second step is to pull this side out here. So that way it's more of a center pull, but it's actually kind of backwards on this one because this is the center pull. I think I pulled it out the opposite way. I personally am a center pull girly. Not all skeins can be pulled from the center. And then other people like to pull from the outside, or they completely rewind it into a cake or a ball. Now, one of the other more common ones is a chenille type yarn. Parfait Chunky is one of the more popular ones. Is it the best one? I don't know. It does shed a lot, so keep that in mind. So it is not great. None of these other ones that I'm going to show you, well, one of them, isn't going to be great for beginners because they shed so much. That being said, same thing. I'll go into a little bit more detail on this one, which is on all of them. So this is your weight. So it's a super bulky size 6 yarn. And then keep in mind, these sizes going between different yarn brands is like women's jeans. It says size 6, but a size 6 can range in size, which, you know, it's pretty ridiculous if you ask me. Anyway, it gives you a way to get a center pull out. So the center pull's on this side, and then if you just want the outside, that's on this side. And then how to take care of it. Another really important thing, other than the color that's on here, is the lot die number. So lot die number is all of the yarns that were made in a specific grouping. So they're all going to be the same color. So if you buy a bunch of yarn and then you run out and you go back to buy another one, the lot number might be different, meaning your coloring might be different. It might be slightly darker, it might be slightly lighter, or it could be almost a completely different color. It's kind of wild. Anyway, with Parfait Chunky, I personally use a 4 millimeter. Again, this ranges with each person and their tension and how they like their things to look, but usually it ranges anywhere from, I think, a 3.5 maybe all the way up to like a 4.5 or 5. Next up is the Parfait XL, which is similar but not completely the same as Sweet Snuggles. Personally, I like Sweet Snuggles more, but it is the same thing. So we're going to look at a different part of the label now. So each of these labels will also tell you how many yards or meters, how much it weighs, all that jazz. Sorry about the text messages. It'll tell you what it's made out of, and then Again, we have the color, the lot number, which we've gone over, how to do an outside pull, center pull. Before you do a center pull, you really do need to pull that out, otherwise you'll end up with both of them out of the center. How to take care of it, the weight of the yarn, and then what size hook that you need. So with this one, I tend to use an 8mm with it. And then a lot of times with this yarn, you have to start it a little bit differently. Like these big ones like this are really hard to get started sometimes. So I can do tips and tricks on how to start a chenille magic circle. I do it 2 different ways, but there are many different ways to do it. So my way is not necessarily the right way. It's just the way I do it. And this is the same as all the other ones. So it gives you the size, the weight, what size crochet hook you should use. Like I said, I personally use an 8 for amigurumi. These are for, like I said, mostly the patterns that are on here. All that fun stuff. So the other beginner friendly, like fluffy yarn, I would say is a blanket yarn. It doesn't have to be Bernat. But I have a ton of this, so that's why I showed it to you. And again, I'm going to go over everything that we just went over on this specific one. So I'll tell you how much is in each of these. So like 10.5 ounces, or you can do it in grams, how many yards, meters. And then it's also going to show you what size hook that you need. See, this one looks a little bit different, but this is for that pattern, for this star pattern. So if we keep turning, we should find something a little more familiar. Here we are. So we have the size 6 yarn, what hook it recommends, how to take care of it, what it's made out of, and all that jazz. With blanket yarn, I prefer to use a 6mm. That being said, I hope that this was helpful. If there's any more questions you have about reading a yarn label, let me know. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.